Maps.upnfiber.com is the home page for the UPN GIS at this time. From this home page, you can navigate to the general UPN GIS map, which is the first button there. You can navigate to custom applications. Obviously, if you are to use those, you would have been trained on these already. And you can also navigate to the help page. The help page has a question and answer type format. You will notice that question 3 is where can I get training on the UPN GIS technology? And there's a link there to video training sessions that we've recorded so that you can do this in your own time. First and foremost, let's jump on the UPN GIS map. We can do that by clicking on the first button there, the UPN GIS map. I'm not going to go into detail. I'm not going to actually talk on it at all about utilizing the estimate searching, because you can find that in a separate video on the training video archives on the GIS help page. I'm just going to do an overview of how to zoom in, zoom out, and how to use some of the other buttons in here, turning off and on layers, turning off and on different base maps, using measurement tools, and using the draw tool to submit map corrections. So first things first, when you bounce into the page, you'll notice that you do not have to log in as long as you're on the UPN network or you're in VPN. VPN can be kind of tricky sometimes, so make sure that that you are fully connected to VPN before trying to utilize the UPN GIS, and make sure that you've remained connected. A lot of times VPN will disconnect and you'll need to reconnect and then refresh your screen in order to get back to the UPN, back onto the network into the UPN GIS map. So let's go left to right over here. If you don't have a mouse, which I would strongly suggest that you use when you're using the UPN GIS map, if you don't have a mouse, you can zoom in and out by using these buttons right here. If you want to zoom back out to the default extent, which is the entire US, you can just hit that home page right there. If you want to find an address, you can type in that address right there. We'll type in 120 South Stewart, and we'll go Liberty Mo, and it will start to auto-populate. And just a heads up on finding addresses, as most of you are probably aware, no two geocoders will place that point in the same spot, so it's always a good idea to maybe reference a couple of different websites, maybe Google Maps, Google Earth, Bing Maps, several other maps, just in case you're really needing to hone in down on an address and you don't feel comfortable that this one returned the address that you're looking for. But as you can see, it'll zoom in once you accept one of the options that it listed below, and you can just take that off if you'd like. Now that we're in, we'll kind of look at some of the layers. So you should have the ability to click on things such as buildings and get some minimal information at this time. You can click on fiber cable lines and get some minimal information at this time, number of fibers. So that's a 48 count fiber right there. As we start to get more and more splicing information, you'll be able to click on the splice closure and get the information right there. You can watch another video that details how to use that splicing closure, splicing information that's in the GIS training videos. So as you'll notice, you can turn things, you can click on things, and sometimes there may be more than one thing that you click on, and so you can search those right there, and it highlights it as it's going through. So in that case, there's two fiber cables over that small segment between those two splice closures. So using my mouse, which I said you probably want to use for most instances to zoom in and out, your wheel on your mouse allows you to zoom in and out, and you can left click and pan around using your mouse. You can also do that with your mouse on your laptop as well. So you can turn off and on different layers in the layer list, and right now by default things are turned off and on. Right here you can see by default, meaning that every time I refresh this map, this is what is going to turn on. So by default you can see what's turned on in the as-built. network. So if I turn that off and on, you can see those things turn off and on. And you can turn those off and on as a group, or you can turn those off and on individually. But by default, these are the ones that are turned on. The CWIP layer, which I'll zoom up to Omaha because Omaha has a lot of CWIP going on there. The CWIP layer, I'll turn off the UPN as-built layer. The CWIP layer, as you can see, is turned on there. And by default, just the fiber cable and the conduit is turned on there. There is limited information in the CWIP layer, mainly because it's a temporary layer during construction, and the intent is really just to show high level where the project is expected to be built. There is several different things in the miscellaneous layer. This is kind of an ever-expanding layer, so that's one that you kind of want to just go and check on. I will highlight one. If you go to Des Moines, we zoom over to Des Moines and I turn on the miscellaneous layer and then the construction layer, you'll notice construction status. So by expanding these things, you can see the symbology that is being used. So when you're looking at these construction status layers, you can look at built conduit and see that the built conduit is in blue right there, and that can be turned off and on. And then you can turn on fiber, and that overlays the built conduit. So this is an evolving data set here, this construction status. The fiber constraint layer is in there for the time being, and you can explore that as well as several other different layers. If you need help with navigating these are kind of job specific. The GIS department is more than happy to work with you to understand how to use these other miscellaneous layers. You can remove that layer list by just Xing that out. I have the network off, so I'm going to turn that back on. The other thing that you have the ability to do is the base map. You can change the base map. So Bing Maps Hybrid is what you're seeing here. That's by default what we use. You can switch over to different maps by using the base map gallery here. I'm going to switch back over to Bing Maps Hybrid. So there is also a measuring tool in here. So if you want to measure the distance or area, these tools are right here. If you want to get the XY coordinate of a specific location, you can record that information there. If you want to do a measurement, and let's just say feet, come here to here, you can do it there. If you want to translate it to miles, well, that didn't come up right. That's definitely wrong, but you should be able to do it there. Well, that calculation's running wrong there, but we'll look into that and make sure that that's recording correctly, because that's definitely wrong. If you wanted to make a map correction, let's say that you knew that there was fiber going down here. I will show you a quick and easy way to do that. You can use the drawing tool. You can use the polyline, and you can pick whichever color you want, just any way that you're used to doing it, and you can say there's a fiber cable that's actually there, and by clicking on this guy right here, you can make a little note on the screen. You can make this a different color so that it kind of matches, and then just by clicking on the map, you can add that there. And so this is just a very quick and easy way to do a map correction. So from here, you can grab your snipping tool, which should be in your accessories, and I think I've actually moved it down, but in accessories you have a snipping tool that's in accessories. You can grab your snipping tool and say new, and just grab the area of the needed map correction. Make sure that you get that extent a little bit far out so that we can have some landmarks to reference so that the GIS guys can get back to that. And just by copying and opening up your email, you can just start a new email. And you can just copy and paste that screenshot right in and send it to UPN GIS at upnfiber.com. And this is your tracking mechanism to make sure that you can track that you submitted it on this date and that it is getting addressed. The GIS guys will usually reply back and say it's received and that they're researching it. And so those have to be approved by the RVPs before they can be put into the system. You can clear this out because all this is just a static image. You can clear that out by just hitting the clear button. A couple of other things functionality wise, you do have the ability to have the building list right here. And so the building list at this time is 2,219 records. So if you needed to export this to a CSV, you can go to Options, select Records in all pages so that all 2,219 records are selected, and hit Export to CSV, and then you'll hit OK, and then it'll prompt you. It'll actually download it, and then you can open it from there. And that's a CSV file list of the UPN on that building list. So going back out, hopefully this will help you in just general navigation of the UPN GIS map. For more detailed training on accessing estimates, you can view, we'll go back to that, you can view the help page, question 3, where can I get more training on this? By clicking here, you can watch other videos such as searching estimates in the UPN GIS. And this is about a 5-minute video. We try to keep these to 5 to 10 minutes so that you can watch them. And so GIS splicing document access is in there right now. And then this is an ever-growing list of video trainings for the GIS technology.